a fun one, boys, huh?
What a game. What a game of football. Today, football won again. You know, there's such a big build-up to Liverpool versus Chelsea and how it's going to play out. Liverpool coming off back-to-back losses, first time in a while, and how they're going to react now with the whole build-up and anticipation of Liverpool winning another Premier League title, being heavy favourites with the recruitment that they made. Enzo Maresca coming under a bit of pressure at Chelsea right now, but what a performance that was. What a game. I think for me, I would like to start off with Moises Caicedo. I thought he was absolutely sensational for Chelsea. In my opinion, he was the main man for Chelsea last season, and he's proving to be that again. Yes, Cole Palmer's a special player, but this is the heartbeat of that Chelsea team. Caicedo, I think he can be that world-class midfielder if he adds a few more goals to his game, and he's starting to do that because he can do everything else. He has all the attributes to follow the greats that have played at Chelsea in that midfield area. You talk about Makelele, Kante, unbelievable playing, great performance for him. And some other one or two players, Chelsea.
Yeah, I think Moises Caicedo definitely will get the flowers for today. I think he was dynamic. I think he was everything that wanted to, I would say, push this team forward. But also credit to Enzo Maresca. I mean, minus the celebration at the end, which was a little bit over the top. I think what I saw was tactical bravery. Arne Slot made a very clear roll of the dice at half-time by bringing on Florian Wirtz and saying, look, this is our strategy going forward, inserting the 10 straight back in there. And it was interesting to see how the chess moves that was happening on the sideline between the two managers. And I thought Maresca actually made a couple of rolls of the dice, and obviously one of those rolls of the dice was Esteval coming on and then being enable him to get his first career goal. You saw everything else in terms of what he did for Chelsea. And I feel like every coaching staff managed to give him a high five as he was coming off the pitch. It shows what it means to the young man, and credit to him, because I think he's had a great start to the season in terms of just being a teenager, moving, of course, to England and trying to settle into that environment. But more importantly, the minutes, every single time he's on the game and every time he's involved in the game, he seems to be wanting to impact it in the final third. And his end product is far beyond his years. So credit to him, credit to Maresca, and obviously, most importantly, credit to Chelsea, because it's a team performance today. It was a real collective performance. There was moments in the game where they were losing control. They were under the cosh. They had to defend properly. Players were going down with injuries, but their togetherness is really what kept them in it, and then all you need is one chance at the end.
Overall, I'd say if you look at the first half, you'd have to say you favour Chelsea with a better side in the first half for chances created and how the game was flown. Second half, Liverpool grew into the game very strongly. Guilty of not being clinical in the right moments and misplacing passes in the final third. We talk about chemistry issues in this Liverpool side, but Chelsea weathered the storm and they got that win. And again, Esteval, for me, I'll probably say has been their best and most exciting signing in this summer window. Out of all the players that have come to Chelsea. Yeah,
just 18 years old. Incredible for him to have that be his first goal for Chelsea. But JD, you were criticizing the celebrations at the end. But let's just zoom out a little bit. Chelsea have now taken down the Champions League winners, PSG, in the Club World Cup. And they've now taken down the Premier League winners of last season, Liverpool. So you look at that and you look at the ambitions of a club like Chelsea, Nige, is it too out there to say that maybe the celebrations were warranted today?
No, he knows exactly what's going to happen here.
It's
Chelsea's growth, Chelsea's ceiling is up there with anybody in world football. They could be anybody on their day. It's the other aspect. It's just that how consistent do we get that 9 out of 10 performance like we saw in those games that you've alluded to? Yeah, they have their big performance against Liverpool, against PSG, but they also have the disappointing performance like they had against Brighton. And it seems to be there's a consistent theme where they can reach when they're trying to play against someone that they value, or someone they see as almost a little bit better than them, or can we send a statement out? But then can you, as champions, and this is what champions do, can you beat it when you're expected to beat those type of teams? When those teams are coming, they're going to do a low block. Can you break them down, or can you go away from home and dominate in testing environments? They haven't shown that aspect of their game as
it's easy to get up for the Liverpool game.
Everybody can get up for it.
And in answer to where I think you're trying to go, Ali, are Chelsea Premier League title contenders? No. I don't think that this win puts them in that conversation. Can they be a team that disrupts the Premier League title? Yes. Because again, with Chelsea, as good as when it was today, step in the right direction, there will be inconsistency that creeps in Chelsea. There will be games like JD's alluded to where you'd expect Chelsea to get the win and they'll come out with a draw or a loss. Can they be more consistent throughout the entire Premier League season? Can they show us that consistency that they're serious title contenders? Time will tell. But right about now, even after this win against Liverpool today, I don't see them as title contenders, but I do see them as a team that can upset the Premier League title race.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, here's a look at how the results today, not only in this game but in some others, impacted the table. So Arsenal, they move into first after their win over West Ham, and Liverpool suffering that 2-1 loss to Chelsea, who move into sixth. With that result, you also see Tottenham Hotspur sitting in third. Such a change from what we saw from them last season. Bournemouth in fourth and Crystal Palace in fifth. What do we think about this, boys?
I mean, the table doesn't lie. I think if you were being honest and you didn't have a clue about any team coming into English football, you looked at the Premier League, that's an honest reflection in terms of what the teams that we've seen so far. Bournemouth have been flying. I mean, Crystal Palace have been arguably the best team in terms of inform in Europe right now. Arsenal, Liverpool have been setting the standards, and Chelsea doing what, as Nige said, being disruptors in certain games, understanding when they want to raise their levels, but can they keep a consistency? Just deep it. Crystal Palace could legit go second in the Premier League after 8 games, and that's not an unfair reflection of the standard of football they're playing, the cohesion they have in their squad, and the understanding between the manager and the players in terms of responsibilities. So the Premier League is still wide open. No one's looking at it at this stage, right?
No, they're not. But you have to say, with reflection of everything we've seen today, and we talk about consistency and grinding out results, you'd have to say Arsenal now are really starting to be that horse that's edging the race now. With everything they've got, team strength in depth. I think that win at Newcastle, St James's Park away, was a really big victory now. They faced the West Ham side, change of manager, very stubborn team under now Nuno Espirito Santos, and they got that win as well. They're showing that consistency and that grit and getting the job done more so than any other team.
Yeah,
and I'll allude to the reasons why. It's just continuity. There's a lot of players that understand in terms of what their role is. Yes, they've had a lot of injuries in terms of within their starting 11, but at the same time, the base and the spine of that team has very much been here for the last 2 or 3 seasons. So there's an understanding when you can integrate new players in, i.e. your Yokerezes, i.e. your Ezes, they're just kind of trying to fit in. Liverpool, we can still see us trying to gel.
Yeah.
I don't think at this moment we can honestly say we know what Arne Slot's best 11 is, and I think he's still trying to find out what his best 11 is as well.
And that's a tough thing to have to try and do, Nige, when it is really competitive there at the top of the table in the Premier League. You're also competing in Champions League, and a lot of Liverpool fans coming into the season, it wasn't just about winning the Premier League again or just winning the Champions League. Let's win a treble. Let's go do something big. And today, now suffering a 3rd consecutive loss, question marks about what is the best Liverpool team, trying to get the most out of some of these big summer signings. I mean, where are you right now with this Liverpool team? Why have things really started to slow for them in these last few matches?
Well, I'll just start with the team first, Ali. I'm not surprised at the starting lineup he picked today. He went back to basics and what he knows. You talk about McAllister and Gravenberch back in the centre midfield area. It's a team that only really Kirkes is one of the new signings that started on the left-hand side. Everyone else, Szoboszlai, Gakpo, apart from obviously Isak starting up top and Mo Salah, is a standard Liverpool team. It's the team that brought him success last season. For me, they look low energy when they don't have the ball. Defensively on the right-hand side, they're struggling. Conor Bradley started today and got himself booked, and I wasn't surprised that he was going to get taken off at half-time. Then you put Szoboszlai in the right-back role. Done a great job, but he's not a right-back. I've been in that position before when you can play multiple positions when needed, but you're not comfortable there all the time. So they're very vulnerable down that right-hand side, with especially when Mo Salah plays very high up, and you've got a player that's not naturally in that position but can do a good job. So there's vulnerabilities there. Andy Robertson comes on. You'd have to say he's at fault in that left-back role for the goal conceded, and there was so much high hopes of bringing Kirkes in, and he's still struggling to finish 90-minute games. So again, there's chemistry issues. There's lack of energy when they don't have possession of the ball. And for me, I would have to say that I do worry for Mo Salah. I don't think Mo Salah has been performing to the level that Liverpool need him and required to. When you talk about last season, every time he gets on the ball, he's just electrifying. Something was going to happen. Now we're adding even more better quality pieces or better players around him as well to make it more exciting. I'm very disappointed in what I've seen so far in his influence in the game for Liverpool.
I'm also questioning the leadership. It's been spoken about a number of times. We can see Virgil van Dijk coming out and being open about the mentality of the squad and whether or not they could, step up in those type of moments. But this is where attitude reflects leadership. And I look at those 3 results and I think about Crystal Palace away, most informed team in Europe. So can you go there and demonstrate who you are as the better starting 11 in terms of value and quality throughout the squad? You weren't able to do that. Galatasaray, away from home. Nigel will tell you, those type of environments is all about mentality. It's nothing really to do in terms of your performance or the quality you have have in your squad? Can you control the emotional environment? Weren't able to do that again. You then go to Chelsea, who's a wild card in this league. They're like a Man City, they're a wild card because you never know what you're going to get with them. Again, can you demonstrate quality in terms of controlling the game? This is 3 games in a row I've seen from Liverpool and 3 performances I've seen. They haven't been able to control the game from a mental perspective, and I can only look at the leadership group for that.
Both teams are going for the win, which is fine. The difficult thing you've got is you can say, okay, Arne Slot's substitutions that he made throughout the game were a risk, but it could have paid off. But it didn't because you lost the game. And you're moments away from coming away with a point where people would say, okay, it's a good point, it's a building block that Liverpool are heading in the right direction from how they started. But when you have your most experienced players and reliable players, Robertson making that mistake in that time of the game, knowing and just lack of awareness of what's around him, and you'd expect better from him. You lose the game, then all that great momentum and the substitution, everything that you've done that you could have won the game goes out the window. And now all we're talking about is Liverpool losing and what is completely going wrong at that football club. And there's more questions that Arne Slot is going to have to answer now about his Liverpool side.
So you think they should have been more defensive then to try and close out and get the point?
I think that would have been a great point if they'd have seen out the game.
Yeah.
And then I think it would have been a great reflection on the game. It was end-to-end, it was entertaining. Both teams went to try and win the game. But the reality of it is they lost now. So we can't say anything more than that.
Yeah, Liverpool, 3 straight losses. They drop. Arsenal move into first and Chelsea move into 6th place with the victory today at home.
Enzo Maresca, is he under pressure? He said so many things in interviews, but do you reckon he's under a lot of pressure at the minute?
I think he's probably feeling the pressure, and I don't think he helps himself by attacking the press all the time. In every interview I see, he's always having a go, he's having a moan at something. He doesn't seem to be happy in himself. So I think he is a little bit under pressure. Obviously, I think he's been unfortunate in the injuries that they've had and the sendings off. They've played a big factor in them not being able to get the right performance level that he requires, because make no mistake, when Chelsea have got a fully fit team and they've got 11 men on the pitch, they're a strong side.
It's super weird to even be saying this, Mark, because just a couple of months ago they were the world champions. I mean, the newly crowned world champions, but so quickly into the season things have started looking a little shaky at the back especially, and Enzo has come out in interviews saying that he could have done better in some of these games.
Well, I think it's a great indication when the manager comes out and holds his hands up and says, like, look, there are things I got wrong as well. So it's not just laying the blame at players or certain circumstances. I think also the fact that they did so well at the Club World Cup. They played so incredibly well against PSG in the final. I think against most people's expectation, that people thought that this side, after all this investment, is finally going to deliver what people were hoping were going to deliver. So then all of a sudden, the bar is a lot higher. Yeah. The expectation is Chelsea are going to contest this season for the Premier League title. And of course, within that change room, there'll be belief that they can. The club of Chelsea have an expectation, the fans have an expectation to deliver silverware as well.
Yeah, Mark spoke about the expectation, William. Do you think the expectation needs to be incredibly high at Chelsea this year? Or do you think fans and the management themselves have got to manage the expectations, given that there were so many changes in the squad?
Not only this year, I think the expectation, for Chelsea is every season, because Chelsea is one of the best clubs in the world. So, they were world champion. So now, this season, we know they have to qualify for the Champions League. So that's why I think the pressure is on the manager, because when you look the result, unfortunately, he had the bad result, but the season is still long. So we know they got some injury players. So I think they will come back. So that's why today it will be the great opportunity, to have a good result. And I hope they're going to win.
Let's very quickly talk about the defense. Do you think this is a defensive unit, William, that genuinely lacks experience at the minute? It lacks experience, don't you think?
No, you need experienced players at the back. And unfortunately, at the moment, Chelsea doesn't have that experienced players. Since Thiago Silva left, they never replaced him. So that's why for me that was the main problem. Okay, they won the competition in America, so that's why they are the world champion. But it's not enough, because in the Premier League, it's a different competition. And you need to have experienced players, especially when you play with young defenders. So when I look that team, who is the leader at the back? No one.
I want to now talk a little bit about an individual that's very, very popular back home in Malaysia, Mo Salah. He's very much loved, David. He's got this superstar status.
Rightly so.
Fans in Malaysia absolutely adore him for everything he's accomplished with Liverpool. But is he going through a bit of a rough patch at the minute? Because as of this season, he's got 2, and his only non-penalty goal in the Premier League so far came on opening day. In general, he's averaging a lot less touches in the penalty boxes, a lot less chances created, a lot less shots as well. And if we take a look at a compilation of his moments today, because he did get into some pretty good positions, but the final product wasn't necessarily great. Let me just click play here.
Yeah, what's happening with Mo Salah now is he's getting a little bit frustrated with himself, and he's starting to snatch at opportunities in the game, but he's actually sacrificing himself for the team at the moment. He's keeping very disciplined, he's keeping the space out wide, and he's waiting for the opportunity to pounce. Now, last year, he did the same thing. There was times in games where he was not fully participated, and you were saying maybe, you know, the manager might take him off after 60, 70, 80 minutes, but then Mo Salah would then go and create that assist, create that bit of space for someone, or he'd put it in the back of the net himself. While Mo Salah's on the pitch, you always have a chance to score goals. And I think the way Mo Salah has adjusted his game over the years to bring more assists into his game, that's come from being patient, for waiting for the right opportunity. Teams are doubling up on Mo Salah. They know he's the most dangerous player on the pitch, so they double up on him. So what he's learning now is, if they're doubling up on me, there must be a spare player at the back post, so that when he hits them outside the boot crosses, or when he floats them, you know, them little left-footed crosses to the back post in them dangerous areas, that's what's getting the assists. But for some reason this year, them opportunities are not coming. I think he's obviously trying to find his relationships, because football's all about relationships. He's trying to find the relationships with the players, the new players that are coming in, your Ekatikes, your Verts, you know, even your Frimpongs, you know. So he's still trying to get to know his teammates and suss everything out. It's only a matter of time, because you can't keep a player like Mo Salah down.
Yeah, it's a difficult conversation to have, Mark, because for everything that he has accomplished, you don't want to make it as simple as just, oh, he's going on a downward spiral in his career, age is catching up. You don't want to be saying stuff like that. But at the same time, when the standards aren't really at the usual Mo Salah standards that we have grown accustomed to, questions will be asked. Do you think it's an age thing, it's a standard thing, or do you think it's a lot more to do with the setup and the style of play this season?
Well, firstly, whenever you get older, that is the first thing that people say. When the minute you drop off a little bit of form, is he past?
Inevitable, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Look, the guy is a phenomenal footballer. His records are incredible. And the thing about Mo is, when you, in my opinion, when he's on it, he is unbelievable. Everybody, you just watch him in awe. When he's not on it, and he kind of like, he's not engaged, he's not in the game, he can look really poor. And you can get that feeling of he's so far off it. But in an instant, he can switch back on. Today, he could have easily had 2 assists. The 2 deliveries with the outside of his foot into the box were exceptional. And I think also there's been big changes at Liverpool, as we know. Isaac, Ekitike, Verts coming in, Frimpong on his side. That takes time. Those guys haven't hit the ground running. Ekitike probably more so, but the other ones haven't. So that's all affecting the way in which they play.
He's facing different opposition as well now with this low block.
Of course. And also that there's a different focal point in the team. Like, Verts is a real focal point in the team. A lot of the balls go through Verts, right? So Salah's got to find a way to get back into the game. Yes, he's hugging the touchline. Maybe the instruction is from the manager, look, you go out there, hug that touchline. You're most dangerous running in behind. You're most dangerous, you know, getting the ball at your feet, taking players on. He's not getting the delivery a lot of the times. So it sort of kind of gets compounded, and you think he's miles off it. But I think you'd be a very brave person to write.
William Saliba opens up on Arsenal frustrations and his mission to win trophies. William Saliba has officially committed his long-term future to Arsenal, signing a new 5-year contract and turning down interest from European giants like Real Madrid. But for the French defender, This decision wasn't just about loyalty, it was about unfinished business. Speaking candidly about his journey so far with the Gunners, Saliba made it clear, he's not satisfied yet. Despite his rising status as one of the Premier League's top centre-backs, he hasn't lifted the kind of silverware that truly defines a legacy. He, Trent Alexander-Arnold, won some titles with Liverpool, Saliba said, when asked why he stayed at Arsenal despite Real Madrid's interest. Me? I haven't won anything here yet, just the Community Shield. That's not enough. I haven't done anything to feel like I should leave. I want to win trophies here. A lot of them. This level of honesty is rare and refreshing. Saliba's hunger reflects the mood of the squad and the expectations of the fans. And it's a mindset that manager Mikel Arteta deeply values. It's great news for the club, Arteta said of the contract extension. Willy deserves this. His impact on the team has been phenomenal. We're building something special, and he's a key part of that foundation. Saliba also confirmed he's now fully recovered from the ankle injury that briefly interrupted his season. As Arsenal prepares for their Champions League clash against Olympiacos, he's clear about what needs to happen next. The club's long trophy drought has to end. I've been here for 3 years, and every time we finish second, it stings, he admitted. You go on vacation, but you're not really celebrating. You're thinking about what could have been. It doesn't feel right. Saliba's frustration isn't only about missed trophies. His path to becoming a starter at Arsenal wasn't smooth. After signing from Saint-Étienne in 2019, he spent the better part of 2 years on loan, including a spell at Nice that, at the time, left him questioning everything. When I arrived in 2020, I didn't play for 6 months. Then I was loaned out. Of course, I had doubts. I wondered if I'd ever play for this club, he said. But I told myself I couldn't leave without trying. Even when I was training with the under-21s, I kept working. When they told me in December it was best to go on loan, I was angry. I needed to play. But I never gave up. I went, I played, I came back, and I proved I could start. I'm proud of that. It shows you should never quit. That resilience, the refusal to walk away even when the odds were stacked against him, has shaped the player and the man Saliba is today. It's also what makes his connection to the club feel so personal. His love for Arsenal started long before he ever wore the shirt. Growing up in France, it was Thierry Henry, a club legend and Saliba's childhood hero, who made Arsenal feel like home, even from afar. My first Arsenal jersey had Henry on the back, he recalled. He was incredible to watch. Being French and seeing someone like him at a club like Arsenal, it inspired me. I was young, but I remember watching clips, especially that Champions League final in 2006 against Barcelona. That stayed with me. Now, Saliba isn't just wearing the same colours as his idol, he's trying to carry on that legacy. His admiration for Henry became motivation. His loyalty to Arsenal is about more than a contract. It's about identity, pride, and ambition. Despite heavy links to top European clubs, including Real Madrid, Saliba insists he never seriously considered leaving. To be honest, I wasn't really focused on the outside interest, he said. I was focused on staying here. I knew I wanted to be part of this project for years to come. So I'm happy. I'm proud to sign a new contract and keep going. And he's not the only one feeling the pressure to deliver. Mikel Arteta knows that expectations have changed. From the moment I took the job, I knew I wanted to win big trophies here, Arteta said. That's the standard. That's the ambition. No one needs to remind us of that. It's what we expect from ourselves. Excuses have never been part of my mindset. As Arsenal prepares for another shot at glory, both domestically and in Europe, Saliba stands at the heart of it all, stronger, more determined, and more connected than ever to the club he now proudly calls home. Saliba's commitment arrives at a crucial time for Arsenal. After back-to-back seasons of falling just short in the Premier League title race, the pressure to finally convert progress into silverware is at an all-time high. His decision to stay signals not just belief in the project, but also a call for accountability, both from himself and his teammates. Inside the dressing room, his words have reportedly resonated. According to sources close to the squad, Saliba has emerged as a growing leader, not just through his performances, but in how he's approached the off-season, rehab, and now the new campaign. For a player still only 24 years old, it's a sign of maturity and ambition. The timing of his comments, ahead of a critical Champions League group stage opener, only heightens their impact. Arsenal's return to Europe's top competition last season ended in disappointment, exiting in the quarter-finals. Now, with a more seasoned squad and a stronger defensive core, there's an expectation that they'll go further. For Saliba, that means not only defending with discipline, but setting a tone of seriousness and hunger from the backline forward. Outside the club, his decision to reject Real Madrid has stirred conversation in both England and Spain. Some pundits have framed it as a rare example of a top young talent turning down the allure of Madrid in favour of loyalty and unfinished work. Others see it as a signal that Arsenal, once again, is a destination club, capable of retaining elite talent in their prime, not just developing it. That kind of perception shift matters, particularly as the Gunners continue to compete for high-profile signings and work to maintain the progress made under Mikel Arteta. In many ways, Saliba's choice reinforces the club's vision, a young, competitive core built for sustained success, not short-term fixes. Still, questions remain. Can Arsenal handle the pressure of being favourites? Can they manage the physical and mental demands of chasing a title across multiple fronts? And how much longer will players like Saliba remain patient if the club doesn't deliver the trophies they now publicly crave? For Saliba, at least, the answer is simple. He's staying because he believes it can happen, and that it should happen. I came back, and I've started almost every game since. I've seen the growth of this team up close. I know what we're capable of, he said. But we have to prove it. Talking isn't enough. As the season unfolds, all eyes will be on how Saliba and Arsenal respond to that challenge. For now, though, the message is clear. The club's defensive anchor is not just here to stay, he's here to win.